Now, earlier this week, the New York Times published a new report dealing with the Trump Tower meeting between Donald Trump Jr. And the Russian lawyer who promised to have dirt on Hillary Clinton, to share this dirt on Hillary Clinton. Now, that's the meeting, of course, where he said, I love it, especially in the summer. Meaning, of course, the dirt on Hillary Clinton. Now, we don't know if we actually got anything from that meeting, but if it's true, it would be a campaign finance violation, obviously, because that is wildly illegal, taking money from foreign sources or taking anything that's worth money from a foreign source. Now, we know about that part. I've talked about that part before. Now, what's new is that Donald Trump Jr. apparently had a separate, previously unreported meeting. Now, this meeting was with an Israeli social media specialist, an emissary for 2 Arab princes. Oh, that's fun. And a private military contractor who offered potentially illegal data services to the Trump campaign. Now, that contractor, you're going to be familiar with the name. It is Erik Prince, former head of Blackwater. Now, the New York Times writes that Prince had arranged a meeting which took place on August 3rd of 2016. Now, Erik Prince is also the brother of Betsy DeVos. So that kind of explains how they might have actually gotten something in return. We don't know if there was information or data services used on behalf of Donald Trump, but we do know that somehow Betsy DeVos, Erik Prince's brother, ended up in the administration as education secretary. Or maybe she just bought her seat. That's the other explanation for that. But nonetheless, the emissary, George Nader, told Donald Trump Jr. that the princes who led Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates were both eager to help his father win election as president. And of course, if they help Trump, well, then Trump helps them, right? Now, in Saudi Arabia, of course, we're sending them weapons. We're helping them with the massacre of the Houthis in Yemen. As far as the United Arab Emirates, of course, we're also doing deals with the UAE. And we're helping them against the nation of Qatar. So, that's funny because I think it was Kushner that tried to get money from Qatar, was unable to secure financing for one of his buildings, and then it urged Trump to help the Saudi blockade of Qatar. So, there seems to be a lot of, I guess, deals going on between those Middle Eastern nations, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. And of course, the Trumps are massively on the side of those countries. Very interesting. And now we find out that Donald Trump Jr. had meetings with an emissary from both of those countries. Fascinating. Very fascinating. Now, it's also hilarious when you think about it because here's Trump Jr. meeting with Muslims that are offering to help with the Trump campaign, which was very anti-Muslim. So, look, in reality, he talks and says all these terrible things about Muslims. Why? It's because it riles up his base. And his base is like, oh my God, there's somebody that hates Muslims just as much as I do. But behind the scenes, here's Donald Trump Jr. saying, oh, Muslims, absolutely, I'll meet with Muslims. They're going to help my dad. And of course, you also had Trump himself saying things like, oh, Saudis, I love the Saudis, especially when they come and buy when they rent my multi-million-dollar apartments. So, in reality, look, Donald Trump loves Muslims, especially when they give him money. Do you feel like you're winning yet, though? But look, anyway. Now, finally, Trump Jr. also met with Joel Zamel. Now, Joel Zamel is a social media expert. Now, he said that his company could help the Trump campaign. Now, how would they do that? Well, it turns out, as I said, they do a lot of social media, and they had a proposal ready. By the time of this meeting, there was a multi-million-dollar proposal for a social media manipulation effort in order to help Donald Trump win the election. Now, does that sound familiar? I wonder. Now, the company also employed several Israeli former intelligence officers that were specialized in collecting information and shaping opinion through social media. Again, a lot like what the Russians are alleged to have done, and I actually believe they had done. Now, look, as far as social media manipulation, is that important? Yes and no, right? Look, the Russians, did they use bots and memes, right? Yes. Did it have an impact on an election? Maybe, right? Now, that said, okay, if we find out that's true, I mean, it's true with the Russians, and, oh my God, memes. So are we going to go after a sitting president for memes? No, the real problem here is money laundering. Did they get, in this case, did Donald Trump Jr., was part of the Trump organization, part of the Trump campaign, did he get money, and did the Trump organization itself get money from either of these people that he had meetings with and did not disclose it? Well, again, these are, look, this is an emissary for two foreign princes. And then you also have an Israeli firm that did social media manipulation, right? Did they give the campaign money? What did they promise the campaign? And what did they get in return? I've been saying before, the real problem is not collusion, right? No, the real problem here is corruption. The real problem here is money laundering. And I would be shocked if Donald Trump had not committed some sort of financial crime. Now, anyway, according to the Times, Trump Jr. responded approvingly, and after those initial offers of help, Mr. Nader was quickly embraced as a close ally by Trump campaign advisors, meeting frequently with Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, and Michael Flynn, who became the president's first national security advisor. Later, Nader previously allegedly paid Zamel as much as $2 million. Now, as I said before, it is illegal for any foreign person or government to provide any sort of assistance to a political campaign. That said, I don't think you're going to be able to remove a sitting president for just that. Look, let me give you an example of why. Donald Trump, how many times has Donald Trump broken the emoluments clause? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about that stuff, unfortunately. And the Democrats, they painted themselves into a bit of a corner by talking about, oh my God, collusion, right? We're going to be able to remove him, collusion, impeach him. That's not going to happen. I know, like, sorry, liberals, not going to happen. That's not the real problem. The problem is the money laundering. That's the big problem, okay? And look, as far as impeachment goes, that's also a bit of a pipe dream. That would involve having Republicans turn on the president, and I don't think that's going to happen. At least not as long as Donald Trump's approval ratings continue to remain incredibly high with Republican voters. Now, look, if that changes, if Republican politicians see that supporting Trump ends up hurting their election chances, well, then they're dumping like a hot potato. But that's got to happen first. And I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that he's going to be removed for if they find any collusion, so what? Any of these crimes, right? Financial or whatever. It's not enough to remove a sitting president. So this pipe dream of impeaching him and eliminating Trump, it's not very, very likely not going to happen. And look, if he is found for collusion and if he has done all these financial crimes, for example, laundered money for the Russians and then worked together with the Russians, do you think the Republicans are going to turn on him? No. They're not going to care enough to turn on Trump. We're going to have to find out that if Republicans actually do care enough about democracy to end up doing something. Or are they okay with fascism? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to have a Republican Party that cares enough to do that, and Donald Trump will continue to be in power. And also, look, if that happens, we're going to have a constitutional crisis on our hands. So we're going to have to see what happens here with Donald Trump and the Republicans. And, of course, all this different information coming out, and whether or not there's collusion or any sort of financial crimes. But it is interesting to see the role that Donald Jr. is playing in another bombshell report where it shows that, yes, he is more than willing to get together and to collude with other foreign countries and foreign nations and companies and things in order to try and win the election. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.